So I wanted to wish you all a very kind and loving Memorial Day weekend. It is very important to be recognizing and honoring our heroes and our sheroes. Whether you are observing today with a ceremony or perhaps keeping the flag at half-mast, taking flowers to a site, or actually participating in our national moment. Yeah, we have a national moment. The last Monday of May at exactly 3 p.m., we observe a national moment of remembrance. And that's 3 p.m. locally, so wherever you are, so they don't get involved with different time zones. Now, most Buddhist traditions approach a memorial occasion of any kind as a celebration of the life shared with us, of the life and service shared with us by our loved ones. Now, it's not in service to a political end or geography or an ideology as much as it is in service to the truth that is in their hearts that made peace and freedom worth dying for. Another tradition observed on this day is the playing of the bugle call taps. And I was just as surprised to discover that there are actually lyrics to the melody taps. I was surprised to find that out as much as I was surprised to discover that we actually have a national moment. Did not know that. So I wanted to share these lyrics with you today. These were written back in 1862, so right at the time of the Civil War. The author, as far as I could tell, is unknown. And I want to share these in a chant form as a way to embody the celebration of life, in the same way a Buddhist monk would chant a mantra of protection in a memorial occasion. In fact, the chants would generally be a chant of protection of some sort. And you'll actually hear that in these lyrics as well. So the invitation is to take a moment to close your eyes and just breathe for a moment to settle in. This is not meant to be an intellectual or a conceptual exercise. It's meant to be a felt, sensory exercise. An opportunity to go in and just sense and feel the vibration of not only the lyrics, but of the melody. And so these are the lyrics to the melody taps. Day is done, gone the sun, gone the soldier and sailor beyond. May God keep safe in sleep. Rest in peace. So can you feel that? It's a very expansive, opening sensation. And when we feel that peace and the rest, that's when we honor those who have fallen in battle the best. I went on to discover that many other lyrics since 1862 have been written for the melody, but But those lyrics really resonated with me, not only because of the way that it holds both the living and the dead in this double meaning of not only nighttime and going to sleep, a soldier and sailor gone beyond consciousness, but also gone beyond form. But also the present moment awareness of the lyrics and the acceptance of a warrior's destiny. There was no struggling and no fighting whatsoever in those lyrics. And so I want to draw our attention to the similarities in the path of the warrior and the path of the spiritual warrior. We struggle for peace within, the same as our brothers and sisters struggle for peace out in the world. We will never stop outside wars until we stop the wars inside. As above, so below. As within, so without. The Buddha saw this and saw that the world is an outer expression of our inner turmoil. And that is why we seek first awareness, mindfulness in this moment, in every thought, word, and deed, so as to be careful not to put out into the world any more fear, greed, hatred, or delusion. I was asked recently by someone who's like, can a Buddhist be a soldier? And my response was, I don't think a Buddhist can even be a Buddhist. When you really look at it and think about it, it's an attachment to an identification. But of course I understand the spirit of the question. And so I found this and responded in the email with this. This is a story the story of General Sinha. General Sinha came to the Buddha and asked the very same question because he was undergoing a transformation and realizing his own spiritual path through Buddhism. And so he came to the Buddha and asked the same question, and this is how the Buddha responded. Struggle must exist, for all life is a struggle of some kind. But make certain that you do not struggle in the interest of self against truth and justice. He who struggles out of self-interest to make himself great or powerful or rich or famous will have no reward. But he who struggles for peace and truth will have great realization, and even in defeat, they will be deemed victorious. So it's not, as we have studied and talked about before, it's not what we do, it is the quality of the doing. It is the intention in our hearts. In the same way that a soldier who has purified hatred, greed, and anger in their own hearts and go to battle for peace and truth is a much more skillful path than the peace activist who stays home and loots, burns, and pillages in the name of peace and anti-war, anti-government, anti-this, anti-that. So it's not what we do, it is the quality of the doing itself. And the Buddha goes on to say, and if he moderates himself and extinguishes all hatred in his heart, and he lifts up his downtrodden adversary and says to him, come now and make peace and let us be brothers and sisters, then he will gain a victory that is not a transient success, for the fruits of that victory will remain forever. Robert Brumman has told the story about the samurai warrior who was sent on a mission to execute a warlord. And as the samurai approached the warlord, he withdrew his sword and prepared to strike. And at that moment, the warlord spit in his face. And the samurai stopped, placed his sword back in the sheath, and left. And the reason why he did this was because he could no longer act with a pure heart. He had become biased, and hatred and anger had taken root. And so he knew that he could not act from that place. So in the same way, a wonderful, beautiful lesson for us this Memorial Day weekend, as we work to remember the peace and the truth and the justice that folks have died for fighting the wars on the outside, as we purify fear, greed, and hatred within us, bring that into the world, and bring a much quicker cessation to suffering for all beings. May all beings come to awakening, not one left behind. And I would like to close with this quote by Jennifer Granholm. Ceremonies are important, but our gratitude has to be more than visits to the graveside and a once-a-year Memorial Day ceremony. We honor the dead best by treating the living well.